The K70 series has been around since 2014, and its newest edition, the K70 RGB PRO, comes with a slew of new features and a sleek design as always. Let's talk about it. Out of the box, the K70 RGB PRO looks really beautiful and feels really solid in your hands. Other than that, you have your instruction manual. There is a 1.82 meter USB-C to USB-A braided cable for your keyboard. And lastly, there's a magnetic soft wrist rest that you can clip on and off as you will. When it comes to the wrist rest, this one really surprised me. It doesn't feel jarring or off-putting because other companies use a little cushion and your wrists are always sinking in, which makes it very uncomfortable to type with. This soft wrist pad is solid and keeps your hands where they need to be without slipping off. But of course, remove it or use it as you will. With that out of the way, let's go to the highlight of the K70 RGB PRO, the keyboard itself. I mean, just look at that. That's one handsome looking keyboard. Wow. Even with the plastic bottom, it feels premium as heck and it doesn't feel hollow. And the fact that they use a single piece of metal for the top makes it so easy to look at. Also, the keyboard comes with these lines at the bottom so you guys can run your headphone wires through it or just any wires that helps with cable management. The adjustable height stands are open sideways as opposed to upwards, and it feels a lot sturdier, especially when you're frantically typing or gaming. Speaking of gaming, there's also a tournament switch at the back of the keyboard which locks macros and sets its lighting to red. And you can change the colors in the iQ app, so that you can focus up and not accidentally hit keys that will cost you your match. There's also an additional lock at the back of it so that you or anyone else doesn't fiddle and disable it while you're gaming. There are also hotkeys at the top. The first is a profile switch. The K70 RGB PRO has 8 MB of onboard memory and can store up to 50 profiles that you can come up with in the iQ app. Say you have a work profile, a gaming profile, or a video editing profile. It's really helpful when you take the time to map and plan out what you need to save even more time in the near future. You can also map out key combinations using the onboard macro recording by holding the Windows lock key for 2 seconds. There it is. It's like right there. Hit the keys you wish to record, press the lock key again, and lastly, press the function key and the key you wish to save it with on the fly to open tabs, programs, type out sentences, you name it. Also, you can change your keyboard lighting settings by hitting the function key and pressing from 1 to 0, which makes switching so easy. The next key is the brightness hotkey for, adjusting the brightness of your new K70 RGB PRO per key RGB lighting, like this. Woo! And lastly, a Windows lock button if you do have a habit of hitting it accidentally. Also, the little acrylic panel at the top shows you when you have engaged the Windows, num and scroll locks, and if you have the caps on, of course. And moving to the left, we have this smooth volume roller and a mute key. More audio options are these media control keys. You can stop, go backwards, forwards, pause, and play. This keyboard really does everything you need without feeling overkill. And when you think it stops, it doesn't. So let's talk switches. We have both models and they use Cherry MX Red and Blue RGB mechanical switches, but you do have other options such as Silent Red, Brown, and Speed Silver. I've been fiddling with the Cherry MX Blue variant and it's rated for 100 million presses and they actuate around 2.2mm with 4.0mm of travel distance. And I chose the Blue variants because I like them tactile and clicky. Of course, we have the Cherry MX Red variant here as well. Irregardless, they both feel really great to type with. On top of that, we get full end key rollover and 100% anti-ghosting, which makes this one hell of a typing experience. They sound pretty good, but of course you're typing on a metal surface, so there'll be a slight ping. But if you're using headphones or if you're not bothered by it at all, this should do fine. Also, talking about that PBT Double Shot Pro keycaps with standard bottom rail, these are solid at 1.5mm thickness and they resist wear, tear, shine and fade, so long as you don't do anything too drastic. Now let's talk Axon by Corsair, which is an MCU, a microcontroller unit that offers extremely low latencies, ultra fast scanning rates, processing, and a crazy polling rate at 8000 Hz. That basically means your PC will be more responsive to your keyboard at about 8 times faster in theory. It has a 0.25 millisecond average latency and a 1.25 millisecond transmit time. And honestly, for your average fella, this crushes all of your expectations, the ones that you have and the ones that you don't have. Out of the box, its polling rate is set to 1000 Hz, so it's compatible on older PCs. However, if you want to change it to 8000 Hz, you need to use the iQ app. Go into the iCUE software for a bit. There are loads of options for you to customize your colors, profiles, keys, and more to customize your keyboard. Manage your recorded macros and create new ones easily by selecting the assignment type. I'm going for Launch App. Select the key you'd like to bind it to and the modifier. I prefer the function key. And for this, I'll put down the Geek Culture website and voila! The key has been assigned. You also have full customization options when it comes to lighting effects down to each individual key. There are preset key groups and you can make your own. There are some ready profiles available on the iCUE website. iCUE of course works for Mac and PC, but not the Xbox. So if you're planning to use it for the Xbox, load up the profiles onto the keyboard via your computer and then use the profile button to switch your lighting profiles. Under the Performance tab, you can customize the Win-Lock button. Besides disabling the Windows button, you can also disable the Alt tab, Alt 4, and the Shift tab too. Lastly, update the keyboard's firmware and change out the polling rate to get the full Axon experience in the advanced settings. All in all, Corsair has set a new benchmark for the K70 keyboard series, and it has been an enjoyable experience typing out the script that I'm reading out right now. So if you're looking for a keyboard that's ultra fast and built to last, make sure the K70 RGB PRO is up there on your list because it's definitely one you should consider. If you have any questions about them, leave them in the comment section down below and I'll do my best to answer them the best way I can. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials and like and subscribe to us because we have tons of content coming your way to fill your hearts, minds, and gaps in your day. This is Zinho, signing off.